Generating Django code with ChatGPT. Is it any good? What is it good at? And what is it not so good at? And what KPIs can we expect when we're using ChatGPT? I will generate the central code from the 3 LeadMagnet implementation videos, and then evaluate the result. Based on the result, we will calculate some KPIs, and then make a final verdict if generation using ChatGPT is good or good enough. If you would like to skip ahead to the KPIs, you will find them in this timestamp. So how do we generate a model for Django? I have prepared some prompts that will give us what we're looking for. So first, we start off with the model, or as we call it, the magnet. And this is what we get when ChatGPT generates the model from this simple prompt. From this model, we also like to generate a model form. And I use this simple sentence to get that. This is what it's generating. And finally, we also like to generate a serializer for this model or magnet. So what are my first positive reactions to this? And the first point, it totally nails the basic framework. Secondly, most fields are chosen correctly just based on the names of the variables. That's quite impressive. And the serializer actually looks more generic and better than the one I have made. So what is actually missing here? We are missing the business logic and we are missing styling. Now those are not specified in the prompts, so it's not strange that they are missing. So here we have to consider time versus effect. Now the variable name should have been a text field, but I never specified that it should be editable. In the magnet form, I would like to have widget styling of the text area, but that is also not specified in the prompt. So with some minor tweaks, we can get the entire model generated. So how do we generate a template for Django? I will only generate the form part of this template because the rest is just HTML. I used a simple prompt to get it. So what are my first reactions? Well, it totally nailed it, except from some styling. And what is missing? Yeah, as I already said, styling. And of course, the salesy sales message that actually gets you to perform this action. And that message is perfect to generate directly from ChatGPT. So all in all, the template is very easy to generate using ChatGPT. And finally, how do we generate the business logic or the view for this Django application? My prompt I have prepared looks like this. So this is what it's generating. So what are my first reactions? Well, it totally nailed the framework. And what has it missed? We have missed the business logic, a part that is not written inside the prompt, of course. The business logic is harder to describe in natural language, so getting it all in there would be much more complicated. So all in all, the basic framework is easy, but the detailed business logic requires very complex prompts. So now it's time for the first KPI, or the basics. How much is actually missing from a functioning app? What is the diff between an app, the generated code, and what we have written in prompts? And the measure we're chosen is keystrokes. In this table, we can see that the app got 1000 keystrokes, What we have generated is 533 using 236 keystrokes in the prompts. So we have generated 53% of the model using only 23% keystrokes in prompts. That's a good return. If we look at a template, the app's got 133 keystrokes. The generated is 123, but we have used 143 keystrokes in the prompts. So we have used more keystrokes in the prompts than we have generated code. That's a loss. And finally, for the view, the app has 670 keystrokes. The generated is 375, and the prompt only 62. So we have actually generated 55% with only 9% keystrokes. That's a good gain. So all in all this together, we can summarize it that we have generated 57% of the application using 24% of the keystrokes using prompts. It should be noted that the missing 40% of the app is much harder to describe in natural language, so the prompts will be longer. So how much writing do I have to do in ChatGPT to finish off the application? And this time as well, we will look into ChatGPT keystrokes versus the application keystrokes. We have the basic 25-60% from the prior KPI. I did a test just on the model to see how many keystrokes in prompts were needed to get the exact match with my code. And it turned out to be 1-to-1. We needed 100% keystrokes to get 100% of the code. So this gives this kind of figure. Generating the basic part of the application will be very efficient, but before you have everything generated, you will have used exactly the same amount of keystrokes as you would if you've written the code from the start. Now, if you find interest in this video, do like and subscribe so that it can spread to others as well. Thank you. So, what errors has ChatGPT done? A char field versus a text field when I did not specify that in the prompt? Not really an error. So most things we have found could be fixed with better prompts. So all in all, the error rate is very low, but you must always review your code to see that it does what you think it is doing. So finally, what is my verdict for Django code generation using ChatGPT? And what are the things you should take with you into the future? The biggest gains are in the basic code framework generation. Here, 25% of the keystrokes can generate 60% of your code. Now, getting more than 60% generated will require you to use so much more keystrokes. So here, it's better to write that code directly. What is generated seems to have a very low error rate, but you must review it anyway so that it makes what you think it does. So finally, I do not feel threatened in the profession as a coder, but we have gained another tool to make us more efficient. See you in the next video.